It's amazing how many quantum programming languages and interfaces exist already. What if there was a way to learn and use all of them without installing anything? qBraid is making that possible with a site you can join for free today. Find out what to expect on your coding journey in this episode of the Post-Quantum World. I'm your host, Konstantinos Karagiannis. I lead quantum computing services at Protiviti, where we're helping companies prepare for the benefits and threats of this exploding field. I hope you'll join each episode as we explore the technology and business impacts of this post-quantum era. Our guest today is the CEO of qBraid, and I'd like to welcome Kanav Setia. And qBraid is one of the companies who was involved in Duality, which was the first accelerator for quantum companies. There were 6 companies chosen, and his was one of them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what they're doing. So welcome, Kanav.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, if you just want to give us a quick taste of what being part of an accelerator did for your company. It was just, I guess, July that was announced. So it was like in the summer, I think. Yeah, and I just was curious what kind of like boost that gave to an up and coming quantum company.
Yeah, I think it has been super helpful. The kind of connections that we got, the access to the network, all of those things have helped us quite a lot. Especially the access to the network. This is something that we would have never imagined that we would have access to it. The accelerator itself is a joint program from University of Chicago, UIUC, Fermilab, Argonne National Lab, and the Polsky Center of Entrepreneurship at University of Chicago. So when they do programs or they put together events, they get to invite people from all these organizations. And they also get to claim that this is US's first startup accelerator focused on just quantum, which means any VC who's interested in investing in quantum will check it out. So, and any program where they want access to quantum startups, they will reach out. So I think that the support we've gotten from Chuck, Preeti, and many others at Duality Accelerator, that has been unparalleled. And we're very fortunate and thankful for all the support we've received.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's another way that this all just feels more real, now that you have these kinds of programs that are helping companies get going. And we do a lot with Chicago Quantum Exchange. I talk to so many people from Chicago. Everyone assumes I'm from Chicago, but nope, Manhattan. So it just seems like everyone's in the Midwest. So let's talk a little bit about qBraid. You're doing something that's pretty welcome. It's this whole idea of making it easier for developers to get involved and get started. So if you want to just explain really lightly what the platform's like and how it compares to the other ones out there, like StrangeWorks and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole mission of qBraid is to accelerate the pace of quantum revolution. And we want to make it super easy to getting started in quantum computing, which means you can log in and you can get access to the state-of-the-art quantum software as well as hardware without having to spend a couple of weeks researching into what is required for getting started and then trying to install a bunch of stuff on your local computer. You just log in. We have software set up for you. We take you from not knowing anything about quantum to running your first program in under 2 minutes and under 5 clicks. That's one of our taglines. And I think it's based on Jupyter Lab notebooks. So we've tried super hard to make it hacker friendly. Compared to StrangeWorks, I think that's where that's one thing I think we excel at, making it super hacker friendly. This is something that we've been told. Not something that we've been claiming. People have come back who've tried out StrangeWorks and tried out qBraid. they've mentioned that they find qBraid to be much more hacker friendly, as in you can have access to terminal, you can install, you can create your own Python environment, and you can have access to multiple Python environments to access various quantum SDKs.
Yeah, and I guess StrangeWorks it does have like a focus on bringing businesses together too. It's like kind of a different thing, but with qBraid, you go and you create an account, and right now it's still possible to create accounts for free and actually start playing with things immediately. And of course, just to clarify, when you say hacker friendly, you mean it in that old school developer sort of approach. Someone listening might be like, what? We can get attacked while we're here? No, not that kind of hacker. It's more like for those who really want to like hack at the code and really get programming. Yeah, just to make sure that's clear
thank
for
you
our
for
listeners.
clarifying that.
Yeah, so we want to keep that clear for everyone at home.
Yeah.
So when you get there, you have two basic platforms, right? I see. So there's the Learn platform, and then there's the Lab platform. So with the Learn platform, you have courses, and there's more courses probably coming, correct?
Yep, that is true.
So you log in, and it lets you start learning in one place, and this is inspired by Jupyter. So
Yeah.
so how interactive is it? Like, what can you do in these courses?
So the idea here is that we wanted to make it even easier compared to Jupyter Notebooks. So for some people, they just want to learn, read, and have videos in there. So Jupyter itself is a great platform. So what we do is we work with people to make courses within Jupyter Notebooks, and you can have YouTube videos embedded in them. You can have interactive widgets in them, and then you get to publish it as a course. So this is something you can just open in your browser. It's a single HTML page with the code snippets embedded in them. And you can just click play to run the code snippets. You can modify them and click play again, and you'll be able to play with it. So this is not something that you can save your progress in when you're coding, but this is something that you get to read, understand the fundamental concepts, understand the code that goes with it, and better your understanding through playing with the code snippets.
And so who's developing these courses?
So the first one was developed in-house. For the later we worked with a few professors along with a couple of interns. So we've taken the material from the courses that were already being taught at universities, and then we've hired a few interns to add in code snippets so that it reads with a nice flow. Many times, I think, if you look at the landscape today, there's still very, very few courses in quantum software. All the quantum computing courses right now being taught at universities, they still teach a lot of the fundamentals and from the math perspective. So there's very less amount of coding involved. And this is where we come in. We hire a few interns and we tell them, hey, can you take this course and add in code snippets so people know how this concept could be implemented using, let's say, Qiskit, AWS Braket, or Google Circ.
Yeah, and there were some good visualizations there, like things you can drag and move to actually see interactively. So I think for some visual learners, especially, it's the right way to go. And so someone who logs in, gets a little experience, plays around with that, then it's time for them to actually try and create something, right? So that's when they go into the real meat where this is going to start to be a useful day-to-day environment. They go to the section called Lab. So that seems to also have tutorials in there. But this is more like, it looks like so you can actually create your own code to continue on with a problem-solving approach, right? So you want to talk a little bit about what you have in there? You have stuff from like Microsoft, IBM.
Absolutely. I think the strategy is to enable you to learn, build, and deploy. We have the learn and build part available right now. Learn is what happens on the Learn platform, and Build is what happens on the Lab platform. So when you make an account with us, you get access to Jupyter Lab, and that's where we provide you access to various Python environments focused on IBM's Qiskit, Google Circ and OpenFermion, Microsoft's Q Sharp, AWS's Broadcast, and many more. Rigetti's Pikewell. So these are all the environments ready to go. All you have to do is just click activate, then all the Python packages related to, let's say, IBM's Qiskit, you don't have to install, and you can just start importing right away. Import Qiskit Air, import Qiskit Ignis, all of those things ready to go. On top of that, one really cool thing we do is we clone all the tutorials available from IBM, Google, Microsoft into your home directory, which means you don't have to Google search any of the tutorials. You just open that folder and you have access to, let's say, how to do finance or portfolio optimization using Qiskit. You just open the notebook, Python environment is already there. You can start running the code. In fact, like this morning, I showed someone how to just change the ticker of the stock and run the code. And that essentially is the idea where we wanted to provide you the entire ecosystem at your fingertips without anywhere it's possible to automate things, anywhere it's possible to save you time, we want to do that.
Yeah, what I thought was neat is right there, you can add packages, and if a new version of something comes out, you'll still have access to the old one, right? In case it breaks what you did, sort of like a regression situation, like so you can test and see how it works. Yeah, because a lot of these packages become a little unwieldy. You know, you change one thing and then everything just blows up, or like no, you have to run this one specific version, and then you didn't realize that, and then you're kind of like sunk. So I think a lot of beginners will find that those headaches are lifted. So that was impressive, at least to me. So this is sort of useful for people going it alone, right? You can have people company doing this. And then I was thinking a little bit along the lines of community. You know, there's competition there, like other platforms are trying to build community. So the way you guys seem to handle that is through the blog section. So you can not only like work on things, but then you could share them, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're paying a lot of attention to how to build a community around the tools that we're building. When you log into Lab, you'll see that you have access to an extension called Code Snippets. And this was our attempt to building sort of a mini Stack Overflow within Jupyter Lab. So you can go in there, search for Bell Circuit. You'll see that there's a code snippet in there, copy it, and paste it in your notebook. As the community grows, we hope that a lot more people will contribute, and other people will find it useful, because you don't have to go looking for that exact piece of code that will do the job on the internet or Google search if it could be embedded in your development environment as well. And as I mentioned, ultimately, we want to provide you the ability to deploy. The starting point of that is blogs. So these blogs are an industry first. So when you publish a Jupyter notebook as a blog, not only your readers can read and play with the interactive stuff, they can also change the code you have in there and play with the code itself. So the blogs are kernel powered. So which means when your readers come to our platform and they read your blog, we connect a Python kernel to it. So all your code will run if they wanted to.
Okay. And when you talk about like the kernels and everything, are there limitations to the free account, like what you can do, like what you can have running, et cetera?
As of now, no. We're still working through what we want to offer as a freemium tier. We definitely think that there'll always be a free tier along with the premium tiers that we plan to come out with. The amount of stuff that we want to bundle in the free tier, we still haven't quite settled on it yet. as we're all as we were still going through the development process for our product, making it much better. And as that happens, uh, yeah, we will have a good definition of what will be available as a free tier, hopefully in the next 4 to 6 months.
Oh, okay. So for now is definitely the time to get in there and start playing. That's for sure.
Absolutely. The other thing is we plan to come out with access to hardware as well. So if you're part of our community, you may be one of the first ones to get beta access.
Okay. So right now you access, what do you access on the back end? Is it pure simulation still?
Uh,
Uh,
Simulation, we will provide you enough compute to run 10 qubit circuits
mhm.
locally. By locally, I mean every Jupyter Lab instance gets associated with it a decent amount of compute resources. With that, with those resources, you can run a simulation of 10 qubits at least. And then you can connect to various hardware if you have separate accounts with them. So what that means is just like you would connect to IBM's quantum computer or AWS's quantum computer by putting in your credentials,
Mhm.
you can do the same thing from qBraid. Eventually, we are working on a product where you wouldn't even have to do with it that, where we would manage access to all those clouds. So all you would need is to make a qBraid account and submit jobs from a central location, specify whether you want to run on AWS's quantum computer, or I should say, like all the quantum computers available through AWS or IBM and so on. So we would
Okay.
manage all the authentication um, and the cost associated with it.
And right now, do you have something in place with Bracket from Amazon? Um,
Yes. So with Bracket, we are working with the AWS team where hopefully in 3 to 6 months, you'll see that all those quantum computers becoming available on qBraid without
mhm.
you having an AWS account. That's crucial. Like if you have an AWS account right now, or IBM account or Microsoft account, this is something that you can do right now. Like in
Okay.
fact, a lot of people who attended MIT's quantum computing hackathon yesterday and on Saturday, they used qBraid to connect to IBM's quantum computer and quantum computer available through Quantum Inspire.
Okay. And that was at the end of January, but obviously this will air just pretty soon after
Yeah.
this recorded, though. Um, so you're going to be then allowing customers to pass through even if they don't have any kind of account, which is super convenient, obviously. Um, and do you anticipate any other way to draw like junior like developers in? Do you have any plans for like publicizing contests or anything like that of your own? I don't know if anything else in the like environment has inspired you, like in the community, you know? Um,
Absolutely. I think one of the things we've been thinking is we want to do such an amazing job that our platform should be so robust that people wouldn't feel the need to learn a lot of the skill sets associated with Python environments.
mhm.
As in, like right now, people don't deal with compilers, C compiler, or world has moved away from that. We want to get to a position where a quantum scientist or junior people starting in the field of quantum computing don't ever feel the need to learn skill sets associated with quantum computing. And then this is where I think the story is a bit personal to me, where I was doing a PhD and I realized that if I have to excel at writing amazing quantum code, then that just means I will have to be a master in Python. And I asked myself, like, really, why do I gotta do that? I mean, if it could be possible that somebody handles this for me, so I could focus just on the quantum part, like building amazing ansatz and running VQEs or coding up the exact algorithm, that would be nice. And so this is where we want to provide that environment to all the future scientists or future developers, where they will come in and we manage all those things for them and they focus on quantum aspect of the problem.
So you're trying to move them way up the stack, right? To kind of like just dealing with the algorithms and then allow for the levels below to happen sort of unseen. So this will allow different backend targets without thinking about it. Like will you be able to just code essentially and then transpile and send to different hardware targets ultimately?
Absolutely. I want to clarify what we want to take away is the pains associated with Python and classical software.
Hmm.
We want to provide users access to the entire quantum stack because
Okay.
we don't think right now we're there yet, where in quantum computing you could just access the high level algorithm stack and not have to deal with the lower level. So we are working on something called qBraid SDK. In fact, it is already public and people can reach out to us and we provide them access to it. And through that, we have a transpiler built in where you can build your circuit in Qiskit, and we allow you to run it on AWS's Braket or Google's quantum computer.
Hmm.
And if there's a mismatch between the language you've written your code in and the quantum computer you specify on which you want to run your program on, then we transpile the circuit on the fly, run it on the hardware, and get you the results. And this is where we do that, but this is not the most optimized transpilation, which I don't think we can guarantee that for the next 5 years um, like because of how much research that is going on in various aspects of it, right? So if you're so there's somebody out there who picks out one teeny aspect, optimizes it, and then the optimizer you wrote, which was generic, is not valid, right? So we want to keep making it better, and as the time goes by, you'll see it keeps getting better. We'll integrate PyTicket in there and other software as well, but we will provide users the access to the quantum circuit itself. So if they feel the need, they can optimize it further.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering if one day we're going to get to a point where, oh, this machine type is better in this instance, and then you do have to spend the time to drill all the way down and see if you can squeeze every little bit out. Um, yeah, that seems like a solid approach for now, especially with this whole idea of education and bringing people in. So far, do you have any plans for like rewarding any users that come up with things that they share? Anything like for the future to incentivize that community building?
That's a great question. We were still working on our incentives. So we have something called qBraid Karma. It's not active yet, but it will be a combination of the number of votes you get for your code snippets, the number of upvotes you get for your blogs, and we also have news, events, and papers, research papers on our platform. So you can go in there, submit the upcoming events, and so you can get votes on that. At some point, we had a proposal to maybe like basically take all the upvotes and do a modulus square, add them up to get the qBraid karma. So it'll be like uh, yeah, so we haven't settled on that. We may
That's
just go
funny.
with yeah, we may just go with the pure upvoting, but yeah.
As if quantum computing wasn't nerdy enough, you just have to add that extra
Yeah.
layer to it, right? You know.
I mean, I think these are the things we want to keep doing to like keep people entertained, right? Like while you're developing, things should be fun, and we want to provide people the most fun platform. Hide a lot of Easter eggs in there.
I think the platform's already pretty slick looking from looking at it. But you had mentioned before we had this interview that you might even be doing a new UI. Were there any design elements of that you wanted to share? Anything that's coming that's exciting?
Yeah, I think it's mostly going to be new design. Right now, our the feel of the platform is a dark theme, and
Hmm.
this is where we've heard feedback that people like light mode and it's more welcoming. So that's where that's where we're moving to. So you'll see the new UI is more welcoming. I don't know if you saw our old website. Um, it was also dark theme, the landing page. Right now, it's light mode and seems a little more slick. Uh, so we want to follow the same approach for account.qbraid.com. And then ultimately, at some point, we are working to redesign even Jupyter Lab UI and make it more welcoming and a little more slick.
Okay, so right now it still looks very much like it's a person comes in, creates an account. They could be from a company, of course. They could just be a student. Do you have any plans for creating some kind of like managed environment where, let's say, you find a customer has, I don't know, 20 developers and they want to build some kind of little like coordination in there that's private but still shareable? Do you plan on having any kind of granular controls like that with accounts, or is anything
Oh,
like that?
absolutely. So if you go and check out our environment manager, you'll see we have a button for create an environment. And so this will let you create your own Python environment. You'll be able to even start from, let's say, IBM's Qiskit as the base environment and install a bunch of stuff in there.
Okay, and then you can like choose who goes in, sort of like other users, or
Exactly. And then you can you'll be able to share that exact environment with all your collaborators. And this has always been one of the most crucial things for qBraid, where we wanted to provide you a platform where not only your code is reproducible, but also your runtime environment.
Yeah, I noticed that respect to the exact pieces that are there and the exact versions. And yeah, it's interesting to scroll down the tree. I mean, some of this might be hard to visualize unless you actually go to the site, and I recommend you do because it's free and there's really nothing stopping you. You could just go to qbraid.com and sign up, and of course there'll be information in the show notes for people. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. It's always great to see approaches like this. Education is hugely important in this field right now. A lot of our customers ask us, like, what do we do to train developers? What do we do to get them to the next level? And it's nice to see everything all in one place. So I'm glad to see this approach. Yeah.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And I hope a whole bunch of new folks subscribe and join up after today.
Thank you very much.
Now it's time for Coherence, the Quantum Executive Summary, where I take a moment to highlight some of the business impacts we discussed today, in case things got too nerdy at times. Let's recap. qBraid is one of 6 next-gen startups in the nation's first quantum accelerator, Duality. qBraid has come out with a cloud environment that lets users both learn and experiment with quantum programming. Based on Jupyter Notebooks, the site imports tutorials from projects like IBM's Qiskit and Microsoft's Q# and gathers them in one place. Users can interact with the tutorials and write their own code, all without installing anything or worrying about dependencies. While you're learning on qBraid, the site lets you transpile code to run on any listed supported quantum hardware. For example, write in Google Circ and run on Qiskit. If you have an account with one of the hardware providers or a cloud service like Amazon Braket, you can pass the code on to run on real machines. Otherwise, simulation of up to 10 qubits is also supported in the environment. As users solve interesting problems, they're encouraged to post blogs on the site. This word doesn't quite capture what gets posted. Blogs are actually interactive, with code, to help others learn. It will be interesting to see what kind of community grows here for knowledge sharing. Overall, the qBraid team is trying to create the easiest to use quantum coding platform, and it seems to be well on its way. That does it for this episode. Thanks to Kanav Setia for joining to discuss qBraid. And thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to Protivity's The Post-Quantum World, and maybe leave a review to help others find us. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ConstantHacker. That's Constant with a K, Hacker. You'll find links there to what we're doing in quantum computing services at Protivity. You can also DM me questions or suggestions for what you'd like to hear on the show. For more information on our quantum services, check out Protivity.com or follow Protivity Tech on Twitter and LinkedIn. Until next time, be kind. and stay quantum curious.